Alright, so it begins. Suicide for celluloid. Celluloid. Yes. This is going to be painful. Suicide for celluloid.
Words are hard.
It seems kind of...
Wow, that was a jarring interruption. I guess it's going to be a pwnage video, and I've been pwned. Damn. Yeah. There we go.
Important. Seems like, something you'd ask, am I getting value out of this toaster I have? Does it consume more electricity than the toast is worth?
So really, I mean, repeatedly I said in the video that I don't know your arguments, and I wouldn't be addressing your arguments.
It didn't matter. Your title was antinatalism. See, this one is InMendham. So I guess what? You're going to do the arguments for antinatalism in this video and switch it around somehow? I wasn't talking about my arguments, right? That clip I just said, hey, seems like one of the questions you might ask and take seriously instead of like, wow, I'm really have so much else to think about. I couldn't be bothered with this subject, but I'm just going to like talk out of my ass on it. So it's like you don't put the word Holocaust in the title and then talk about how Jews have wonderful color sense. Huh? No, you don't do that.
But here you are laying out your arguments, so time to address them, I guess.
Well, you did lay out arguments. You even worried about, I don't want to be redundant and say what other people have said on the subject. So, I mean, this pretense that I wasn't really taking cheap shots at your important subject. I wasn't just maligning it and belittling it and doing all of that. I was talking about apples and oranges and other kinds of fruit. Why are you distracted by... Why do you think I'm talking about something important just because I put the title in the title? Come on. Fuck.
This is a question of instrumental reason for you?
Yes, it's a question I think that's really profound. That's right. Are all the little bugs and all the animals, they're all ripping each other's skin off? Is all of this somehow running a profit? Seems a reason. It's like if somebody, it's just a little bit too bad, like the human race had about your interest in life, right? And so for 1,000 years they sat there and enslaved people without, well, thousands, without asking the question, hey, is this productive, enslaving our own kind and brutalizing them? Does this make efficiency sense? No, they couldn't be bothered to ask rational questions about whether their behavior, adds up to something good. Wow. Because intellectuals are just I'm too animated and spectacular to be bothered to take anything seriously. Fuck.
Cost-benefit analysis? I mean, do you think that that's the appropriate way to handle the issue?
Well, yeah, if there's no super special God who made everything super and special, we might ask the question, is it super and special? Oh, this is going to be so fucking irritating.
I think that there are problems with that.
Oh,
That's what a
yeah.
philosopher does. He talks about how it feels. He actually said that it feels wrong.
Yep. I like how you laugh at that as though I presented that as an argument.
Yeah, no, I wasn't making arguments in the video. I was just insulting you. Fuck you. Well, now I know what I'll tell you to do. I'll challenge you. How about with a shiny nickel? I'll challenge you to actually make a fucking argument. How about that? All right, here's my big bold challenge. I challenge you to focus your attention on the subject and actually make an argument. And if I can't grind your argument into the fucking shit pile it'll be made out of, I'll give you many shiny nickels. And I'll blow my brains out because it would mean I'm a total douchebag failure if I can't defeat something you come up with.
Meanwhile, though, I feel like you go on to make a lot of claims about how you feel.
This is going to be a feeling claim. Let's hear the feeling claim. Okay. This is a claim from I Feel. So let's hear it. I bet you it isn't.
Real question is what's in the benefit?
Nope.
So the real question is, what's in the benefit? So I mean, these people keep talking about slice and dice. Has this video ever been diced as fine as this fucker's dicing this video? Have I ever done this to a video? Can you show me one single video where I actually interrupted after just 2 fucking words?
Reject that one out of hand.
Right, so he doesn't think cost to benefit analysis is rational approach. He thinks that's nonsense and totally silly. Oh man, you people are, I thought you were just too stupid, like T-O-O, but no, there's a whole bunch of O's.
Yeah, it's a legitimate question.
Sure. Not the question that I was asking in the video.
Yeah, well, what are you doing in the video exactly? I don't want to redundantly make the arguments that have already been made because I'm making arguments in this video and I don't really want to make arguments that have already been made on the subject, but I'm not really arguing the subject. I'm just talking out of my ass about what I think of anti-natalism. Yeah, it's not anti-natalism, no, it's anti-natalism. You just didn't understand it. I just forgot to put a space in the world. Like, see, my name isn't InMendham, it's InMendham. Fuck.
I explicitly stated the question that I was asking in the video.
You were asking a question? Holy fuck, I didn't get that. Damn. Damn. I wonder if somebody else could find the question. Was the question, why don't I like your argument? Was that the question? The answer is, it's because you're a douchebag who doesn't understand logic. Oh, wait a minute though. You're the one who said the argument has weight. What do you mean fat? It doesn't have, you mean no weight that matters. It's like not muscle weight. It's just like fat or something, right? Speaking of pudgy.
That is, why would a person claim that having children is immoral? You go on to say, oh, well, we don't say that, blah, blah, blah. Well,
I don't say the word immoral. The word immoral implies God says so. It implies dogma. That's why intelligent philosopher types and whatnot try to use words like ethics or value because they understand that the word moral is associated with dogmatic, God says so bullshit. You don't understand that either? But we're certainly saying loud and clear we think it's unethical. Yeah, ethically problematic. As you said in the video, didn't you? Huh? Oh, I believe you did. I believe you endorsed the ethically problematic argument from coercion. Except you couldn't figure out how it's coercive to shove something through a vagina. Yeah, that's not coercive at all. I only pushed it through a vagina. That's not coercive. Well, first I jizzed on it, and then I shoved it through a vagina. That's not coercion. Well, you know what? This is going to be the longest video ever, probably. But it is fun so far. I'm having a good time.
then I wasn't addressing you.
Are you addressing me now? I don't know, you're playing a lot of my clips. I don't know. Okay, let's see what I have to say. I am pretty cool.
So the philosopher, I think, should do something like when he says that, he should say, wait a minute. Isn't the real question, when people have kids, should they have reasons or standards, to the performance level of this thing?
The implication, of course, being that human beings are perfectly rational, autonomous agents who make...
No, the implication being that they should be. Yeah. Human beings, when they're doing something to somebody else, should be using good judgment. And even though people aren't born able to drive cars, we force them to learn how and pass a test before they're allowed to. So even though they're not born with car driving skillability, we impose on them the obligation to fucking figure it out. Don't we? Yes, to learn how to. Yes.
These kinds of decisions on the basis of reasons. Really? That's what you're going with?
Yeah, I'm going with that. That's right. You should have a reason to machete somebody to death. Or I just accidentally run them over because I didn't know how to drive. What is a DNA molecule? I didn't know I carry 53 different genetic dysfunctions. Yes, that's right. They shouldn't have inane. I didn't know smoke. When did anybody say anything about smoking while you're pregnant being a problem, or drinking, or living next to a toxic waste dump? Who ever heard of that being a problem? Really?
Because I don't think that's what human beings are. We are biological creatures who function on...
Oh, great. So why? I wish all those German philosophers would have figured that out and just said, we're biological creatures, so ignore everything I'm talking about because you're obviously all too stupid to ever know what I'm talking about. We, the intellectuals, must concede we're too fucking stupid to be anything but assholes. Well, gee, they could have said that, couldn't they? Damn.
On the grounds of drives. Any reasons that we might give for why we procreate are retroactive. They're after the fact. The procreative urge comes first, as I'm sure you...
Oh, whatever. The procreative urge. So he's saying when you want to... And he's obviously kind of gay, right? So he thinks when he's engaging in sexual activity, he's having a procreative urge. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, you know in the beginning of the video where you made fun of me because I couldn't say celluloid correctly? That's kind of a boner that you just made there. Yeah, it's kind of a boner.
I'll admit.
Maybe there should be some standards, and then maybe we should talk about what kind of tests you should have to pass.
Okay, how do you implement those standards without some kind of centralized power structures that infringe on the autonomy of human beings? That is...
Whoa, you mean like the DMV? Oh my God, the horror! The horror! Oh, they'll make me register my car and have brakes on it and shit. They won't let me drive a stagecoach down the middle of fucking Route 80. Oh my God, the horror! God, you fuck. You really ought to try to wind those little babies back into your head, fella.
Produce more suffering and produce coercion. It seems to me that in the very advocation of such a standards and practices goes against the very principles that you are arguing for.
Where so, I imagine? I'm arguing for efficiency. I think there's such a thing as perfect behavior. And yeah, if you got it, use it. Yeah, if you know what it is, build as big a wall as possible to force the little critter to go that way. What do I say differently? Oh, that's right. I don't hear me ever saying anything differently. Yeah. Don't give big, long swords to people in the crazy house. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can come up with some way to do it. Love to see.
Yeah. I can come up with lots of ways to do it. You just write a piece of paper. You can't do this. If you do this, you have to pay taxes. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to go to work camp. Whatever. You make rules. One-child policy in China seems to have reduced world population by maybe 5%. Pretty good.
That should indicate that, wait a minute, there has to be more than you want.
Like what?
All right.
Wow. Okay, so that's so he's he's obviously one of these real read guys, and he's read all kinds of these big philosopher named books, really long names, Schopenhauer and shit, and that's the best he can do. So all those Germans just basically said there's nothing besides what you want. If you want to rape, if you want to fuck something, you want to molest a kid, go ahead and do it, because there's nothing else in the universe but what you want. No other concept exists. No social responsibility exists. Throw your litter out the fucking goddamn window. Fucking piss in other people's drinking water. There is no such thing as a concept of social responsibility or responsibility, some other truth. Nope. Just fucking squish this bug planet.
Then he uses the typical. I mean, how many times have I said it's not about morality, it's about value?
Remember that time in the video that I said that I wasn't going to be responding to your arguments?
Doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Okay? I'm just saying that I say to anyone who uses the word morality as if it's some sort of atheist word is absolutely moving the goalpost kind of thing. I don't have to talk about dogmatic morality. Now, maybe you nihilist Nietzsche motherfuckers, okay, because of your agenda. You want to destroy the idea that you have any obligation, so you want to make everything sound like God dogma. Well, that's obviously your scummy agenda, scumhead. I mean, obviously you are a fucking taker of fucking some kind, because it seems obvious you're afraid of the idea of social responsibility, the very concept of efficiency, the very concept of functionality. None of these things you can't seem to figure out are your obligation. You may run over whatever you may run over, as long as society's not going to send a cop knocking on your door. Man, you suck. The depth of your understanding is so fucking shallow, even a Stanford physicist with all his fucking 10 to the minus 33 couldn't fucking find it. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to get some coffee. So, I'll be back. Yeah, we're all the way. We're 3.5 minutes done, man. Whoa, this is really going to work out. I really do want to play every minute of it, but I'll try to be grown up. Alright, have a little e-cigarette, some coffee, nice and relaxed. Now let's play some more.
Didn't matter how many times you said it, because it wasn't about responding to your arguments. The question of whether or not it's about morality, it's a question of value, as you put it. Assumes a systematic privileging of value, that is, instrumental considerations over moral considerations, that is, how we ought to act. Why? Seems to me to be...
Okay, great. So, I mean, I can just imagine if I was, Republicans really should have caught on to all these great tactics you guys have, because... Man, why bother in the civil rights movement, like counter-arguing, judge a man based on the content of his character, not the color of his skin, when the answer, the great reply to that is, I don't feel like it. I mean, man, the racists should just glean you for all the evidence in the world. Anybody who's against somebody's gay marriage, I don't feel like it. Yeah, fuck it. There's no fucking imperative or urgency or need. Fairness? That's not a fucking thing in the world. That's something you made up. What's my obligation to that? I mean, man, you people are just such fucking hypocrites. Whoa! You know, not in my backyard? What, not in your living room? What is this bullshit? It only matters when it has something to do with but my curtains are color coordinated or not. Jesus. Fuck. Talk about log cabin Republicans or whatever, Lincoln or whatever you guys are called.
Innately backwards. Now, throughout the whole time, I was talking about values, what I value. But we'll get to that.
Oh, you were talking about value. You weren't, but you are, but you were, but you wasn't, but you were. Make up your fucking mind. I just noticed something. This guy does remind you of whatever that guy is, that Mexican guy. He's Mexican. What's his name? Doucheperbity? Pippity-bitty? Scumdummity? I don't remember, but you remember that guy, that Mexican guy? Yeah, it's like him in 5 years.
But they always got to say the words. Having children is immoral. So that's the question he's asking. He's saying anti-natives are saying it's immoral to have children. God says so.
Didn't say that at all, actually.
Yeah, no, I guess you still can't get it. As soon as you use the word morality, you imply it. Because traditionally, all morality was dogmatically sourced. God says so. That's where it all came from. That's where all the bigotries and all the other crap got endorsed, was in Bibles. You know, thou shalt molest the children. That's the Mohammed thing. And the Christians is, thou shalt fuck women over royally. You know, that's where they got the morality to beat their wives and enslave the lessers. You don't understand that concept? Come on. That's, again, why the sophisticated folks who don't want to sound like an asshole don't use the word morality when they're talking about values.
I said the antinatalist position, as I understand it, is saying this. And then I said, I will go on to address...
Again, as you understand it. No, as you belittle it and demean it and insult those who believe in it. Okay, so yes, your video was just a dirty rag that you shoved on the internet to offend and insult people. And then you're surprised that they're pissed the fuck off. You weasel. Fuck you. May I be able to demean and degrade something of value to you, fuck face. And my relaxation is wearing off. Damn.
That. Now, I can back it up in the history of antinatalist thought. You know your own history, yeah?
No, I don't really give a fuck about history. I give a fuck about science. Yeah. So I've read biology books and chemistry books and physics books. And that is where the truth lies. It doesn't lie in what some douchebag, chauvinistic, German cunt weasel has to say. I don't really give a fuck about your fucking historical philosophers who didn't know what a microbe was. Yeah, and died of syphilis because they were gluttonous pigs. Dirty, skanky whore sluts. Yeah, I don't really care what dirty, skanky whore sluts have to say. Can you understand that? Douchebag. Yeah. Oh, it must be a traditional philosopher. Don't you understand the importance of tradition in philosophy? You don't want to become more educated. You want to stay exactly the same. So whatever Aristotle said stays the truth forever. That's philosophy. No, that's fucking a waste of time. Might as well be reading bubblegum wrappers as Nietzsche.
You're risking somebody else's welfare, which means that the amount of risk that's acceptable when you're risking somebody else's welfare is much higher.
Got it. But you're still conceiving of this in terms of a cost-benefit analysis. On what ground?
Everything is a cost-to-benefit analysis. That's right. Every fucking thing related to any subject that contains a value component. That's the grounds. If there's value involved, there must be an equation of some kind. If you decided in a video, douchebag, retard, fuckface, to basically just twist the heads off fucking gerbils, okay, instead of shoving them up your fucking ass, but anyway, instead you decided to just twist their heads off, you, I think, would understand that you might anticipate that some people would say, why the fuck are you doing that, you retarded, sadistic motherfucker? I think you could anticipate that somebody might be able to figure out that that's the grounds of value. You're harming something, you stupid fuck. I mean, God, based on what grounds? Value. Has a V in it, so you don't get it, right? I guess that's why I get it, is because I understand the V words, and you only understand the P words. Is that it? Procreate. Yeah, you get procreation. I don't get that one. I get value. I don't go the P way. I'm gonna need some more coffee. Yeah, watch some aliens to calm me down. So anyway, we're ready for some more.
Why do you think that that's the most relevant way to evaluate the questions that you're putting forth? They are important questions, you're right. But why do you think that the question of exchange, the question of value as such, or in the sense that you're using it, economic value, really, why do you think that that is the primary, the most useful tool to address the question? Seems to me to...
Because it's the most useful tool in addressing all questions in all time, whether it be a nuclear power plant or the purchase of a bubblegum machine or anything you possibly could do. The sensible thing to do is to say, how much blood is on this thing that I'm buying? Yes. Ugh, God, you're dumb.
Be inappropriate, and I'd like some justification for that, please.
Oh, I mean justification for being risk-averse or harm-repellent. Yes, I'm harm-repellent. I have to explain that some more. Why it's logical to be harm-repellent. Because it would be insanely stupid not to be. Yeah, that's it. It would be insanely ignorant not to be. The alternative is bleak beyond description. How about that for an answer? The alternative is bleak beyond description, as it is vacant of all beauty and character. Continue.
So yeah, and obviously we could say that, so couldn't somebody agree that it would be immoral to have children if you're doing it so you could molest them?
No, we wouldn't agree on that. Having a child...
Wait a minute. Oh, Jesus Christ, I don't have to do this, right? Gee, hey, all those people who yelled at me for saying, pedophile! You ready? Come on, say it with me. Pedophile! You pedophile, you! Okay, let's hear it.
Having a child in order to molest it, there is obviously something radically immoral in there, and that is the molestation.
Wait a minute, that's what I just said, isn't it? So you're agreeing with me. It's radically immoral. Oh, I just asked whether it was immoral. You said no, and now you're saying yes. See, when you say no, you have to make the argument in defense of the no position. You can't say no or yes and then make the opposite argument. That's called insanely stupid.
Of a child. It's not necessarily the having of the child.
Wait a minute. So you can have the child for the purpose of molesting it as long as you don't molest it. So, no, there's no point in having to explain why it's wrong if you're using wrong reasons. Even though you happen to die before you can molest it, it doesn't mean you made the right decision.
And I think the other immoral moment in that statement is conceiving of a child as an instrument. To think of a child as being something that you use.
That was exactly my point. Most people have children because they're using it. They are living vicariously through it. Or they want something out of it. Like, it will make society think I'm not a screaming... Or it will make me look like a man. Or something like that bullshit. And of course, for the women, it is... Oh, wait a minute. I'm not going to get into that subject. I'll have to end up calling women a little bit frivolous and silly, and then the women will get all mad at me.
For some purpose. To think of a child as a means to an end, right?
And right, nobody's doing that. That's your argument. Traditionally, and for the vast majority of people having kids, they're not using that logic. Even though in every culture that has the highest birth rates, that's exactly the logic being used. They're actually, in countries like China, killing the baby girls because the baby isn't a baby of their choice, and they want it to be a certain thing for a certain reason. They want it to fit in the round hole, not the square peg hole, right? So that's how engineered this thing is, to tailoring it to their preferences and desires. They're not doing it for the benefit of the child. They're doing it for their benefit. Damn it.
I mean, molestation happens to be a pretty horrific end, but if you're going to use a child for Social Security, for instance, like you bring up later on in your video, I'd say that's immoral too.
That was my point. So again, you're validating my point in a video where you're attempting to critique how InMendham has done you wrong. And now that doesn't make much sense again, fella. You really are quite out of the box, aren't you? The logic box.
The only moral position, I think, properly, and it depends on which school of ethics you want to look at, but I think you can properly make the claim and defend the claim that the only moral way to consider the question is the child as an end in and of itself. This seems to be what you're having trouble with. And this is...
No, I'm having trouble with the silly idea that that's what people are doing on planet Earth. And so that, in my opinion, is a crock of shit. People are not having children because they say the world needs more children. No, sorry. Fail.
This is also why I totally reject your way of conceiving of a cost-benefit analysis here. Again, as a child is an end in itself.
Is an end in itself. It's, again, who does that? Who is having a child for the child? No one. So this is an illogically silly and insipid point you're making. By that logic, you could say that, okay, so when they make a machine, like they're getting closer and closer to the synthetic uterus, then the government would somehow have a responsibility to buy a bunch of synthetic uteruses and make babies because somehow making babies is a great idea? Rationally, there's some sort of rational imperative to go out and do it? No, there is not. That is exactly the point of the anti-natalist, is that it is a decision vacant of any rational consideration. They are all irrational, emotional considerations. And again, we're back to my argument that those kind of considerations cannot be your motivation to steal your neighbor's assets and gamble them in Las Vegas as a favor to them.
It is not a means to value or to returns.
Just like the ontological argument from religious kooks, it just feels wrong.
First of all, I don't know what the ontological argument is. Second of all...
Oh, gee, let's play little silly games now. Yeah, whatever. The ontological argument. Oh, I'm an elitist, pompous fuckwit. Can't say words like the argument from rational process.
I didn't say that antinatalists are just like the religious kooks. I repeat it.
Oh, whatever. You did say exactly pretty much that. I mean, if you have to resort in a video to saying things like, just like when the religious kooks say, that pretty much sounds like I'm going to pigeonhole them. I'm going to put William Lane Craig's attitude and words into their mouth and then say I didn't do it. My penis just happened to hit you in the face. Fuck you, bullshit.
Simply said that I think that the position can be articulated in a way that has philosophical weight.
No, you said that about 25 minutes after you accused us of being just like.
At no point did I mean to say that, or to draw a comparison between the ontological argument and the antinatalist position.
Yeah, whatever. Just like. That doesn't sound anything like making a comparison. Just like. It doesn't. No. Not at all. Anyway, I'd be back. It's just Walt Disney calling. I get 5 magical. Nice. I mean, they're magical. How could I turn it down? But I did, and then I wished the woman a foot fungus. Fuck you, Disney. You don't have anything better to do than pay people to make spam phone calls? Fuck you, Disney. Fuck you, Disney. Maybe I should say it 5 times. Fuck you with, Tinkerbell's... Well, she doesn't really have one of those.
Clearly, if you rewatch the video, the comparison that I'm drawing is the comparison between the subjective experience of encountering the arguments.
Yes, okay, so that's something we all should understand, and we all should do that first. So when you're going to discuss a subject and put it in the title of your video, like, I don't know, gay marriage, just talk about subjective reactions first, and just talk about how you personally feel about the subject. It's been maybe take a whole bunch of videos and do that. Yeah, don't get to any of the politics of fairness and rights and stuff like that. No, just talk about how you feel about it. Oh, fuck. And how much it reminds you of how it's just like, I don't know, people who want, to paint their door differently in the condo complex. Yeah, it's just like them.
Right. Nothing about the arguments in themselves. Not saying anything about the people who advance the argument. It's not present in the video. You're reading that into it.
Oh, I'm not reading anything into it. Again, you titled the video the subject, and then you just took a bunch of cheap shots at the intellectual character of the people who believe it. And that's all you did. You dirtied a rag and then attempted to make it stick on us. And I instead caught the rag with a stick and am now shoving it back up your fucking nose. Ha ha ha. ha. Yeah, fuck you.
Yes, that's right. Okay, we can kind of understand psychologically. Of course it feels wrong because we've had 4 billion years of design pressure imposed on us.
You go on to rebut this as though I was presenting it as an argument.
Oh, you were just presenting it as a FYI. Yeah, FYI. This all seems like, it's just like, FYI. Mexican guy. Yeah, it's probably about as much characters in that argument. So anyway, but again, this parsing, right? Because right after that, I say something quite brilliant, you know, and of course you just cut it right at the brilliant part.
I don't know why. I mean, what I was trying to do was to explain. Somebody asked for my thoughts on the video, or not on a video.
Well, they're not your thoughts; they're your feelings. So they asked for your feelings on the subject of antinatalism. And I'm sure what they were expecting you to do was just brag on the subject and not say anything meaningful. And even though you said, I don't wish to be redundant, I suppose you were arguing that everybody else who has talked on the subject was just spiffing out of their emotional reaction and weren't making any rational arguments. So that's why there's no rational arguments, is that nobody has talked on the subject in the affirmative position in any rational manner. So at least you validated my perception that obviously none of you know how to make a logical argument on the subject, and therefore resort to tap dancing on its head. Ah, I see.
On the position. Trying to explain my thoughts on the position. Right? Trying to explain
my feelings on the position. Right, again, it's just like. Yeah, it feels like. Yeah, that's it. It feels like. Oh, fuck.
Something about the subjectivity of the thing. That's very, very, very different than advancing an argument. Now,
yeah, again, is that what we do here on YouTube? We just have conversations and say things that are totally irrational and disconnected, and you know, because you know, somebody could say the word blue and I could say, well, there's blue moon and then there's blue velvet, and I could just do word association and I won't bother anything being coherent, and you know, it'll end up at vagina somehow anyway, right? As soon as I make 2 or 3 connections, I'm already there. So it'll just be a conversation about vagina. So we'll just waste our time. Every subject will be vagina, because we'll just emotionally react and use emotional word association and not do anything called logic and reason. Oh, okay. Jesus.
I do touch on a few arguments in that video which you get ghastly wrong. But we'll make those...
Well, yeah, no, well, you won't bother pointing out how I got your argument wrong when they were exactly as you anticipated, entirely redundant, in that when somebody conceives a baby, they don't know it's going to grow into a human being. That's an unanticipated consequence.
Corrections as we come to them.
He doesn't like repeating other people's arguments. Well, I think it'd be great if you did. If you could find somebody else's argument and show it to me. I'd really love to see an actual argument that is something other than it just feels wrong.
Premise 1, particular beings act according to the necessity of their own ontology. Premise 2, human...
Okay, so we're back to I'm a value relative, which means I like me, I don't like you. I like certain things, and I really don't want to hear your complaints. Okay, so if I like it, it's good, like eating buffalo and bacon and shit, then it's fine. I don't want to hear your complaints about any kind of ethical problem. But if I want something from you, like respect, I'm going to demand it and get all hysterical and wet my pants and go all crazy because you're such horrible people. You're horrible. Right? Is that what it means, fuckface? You stupid, lousy, stinking hypocrite. You have standards only that only apply to you, and the negative standards only apply to them. Man, that's so fucking intelligent. Jesus, God, I hate these fuckers.
Beings are particular beings. Conclusion 1.
Human beings are particular beings. All the snowflakes are unique. Yes, they are all snow, but that is irrelevant. And yes, snow is heavy when it's on your driveway, but that is irrelevant. Snow is a fucking pain-in-the-ass nuisance, but that is irrelevant, because they're all unique.
Beings unfold according to the nature of their own ontology.
Their own ontology. There's no such thing as a right. There's no such thing as dignity. There's no such thing as anything unless I make it. Because there isn't a God. I am God. The God of individuation. I will tell you what means something because it means something to me. Wow. More atheism, please. Gee, atheism seems so fucking enlightened. Man, you people are so fucked out of control. And I should worry about religious nuts and not these fucking nuts?
Premise 3. The ontology of the human emerges from a confluence of social, material, and evolutionary forces.
Wow, and evolutionary forces. Evolution is really smart. It made you think and do and want all kinds of smart things. Because evolution isn't a dumb, crude force. Evolution is God. It's Gaia. It's Gaia telling you, eat the animal. Even though we're entirely like all the other great apes who are all vegetarian. Wait a minute, there's a problem there. So I guess it's not biology doesn't tell you anything. Yeah, biology is full of shit. Don't pay attention to biology. Culture is everything. Culture, and tradition. So yes, women are dumb, treat them like shit. Oh, wait a minute, that's not going to work because then you'll treat the gays like shit. Damn. Okay, never mind culture. I'm an individual. I watch the Flintstones. The Flintstones had monkey cameras, so we all should have monkey cameras. There, maybe that'll work, right? There's no flaw in that. Yeah, he won't be able to get around that one. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah, I watch SpongeBob. SpongeBob will tell you what the truth is.
Premise 4. The will to the propagation of genes is necessarily entailed in organisms that are formed through evolutionary processes.
A will for the potential... No, the will, he says. So we haven't invented the condom. We cannot overcome the biological imperative. You cannot modify the biology's imperative with a simple act of what do you call that? Prevention? Oh no, that's an ought. No, oughting, please. Do not disrupt the natural process. Okay, go out and buy yourself a leopard and then have him chase you around the yard. Because that's nature's way, and we don't want to be modifying that. Okay.
Conclusion 2. Human beings at an ontological level have a natural drive to procreation, and as such...
A natural drive to procreation. So again, even though I have never once thought about babies while I was sticking my dick in anything, ever, there's some sort of natural thing that tells me I want to have a baby. I don't want to just jizz on something. No, I want to have a baby. Wait a minute, that's not true. That's entirely false. There must be some other explanation. There must be. It doesn't seem like I have a natural drive to procreate. It doesn't seem like any animal organ